Welcome to What Matters Most.
We are dedicated to educating the community about holistic, metaphysical, and spiritual topics.
Each week, we discuss things that matter most in life, the things that are most important to you that may have fallen to the wayside.
We are always centered on the idea of simplifying life, connecting with our neighbors, and following our true paths.
Our mission is to empower you to live the life that you've always dreamed of living.
We invite you to focus your life on what matters most. Welcome to What Matters Most. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Maria.
From Experience Nirvana, and today we're going to be having on the show with us Susan P.A., and she will be sharing with us information about the Akashic Records. Now, some of you may or may have not heard about them, but they may have something to do with if you've ever felt like you keep going through maybe a hardship in your life, something like a reoccurring instance that you can't possibly, it feels like you just can't shake it. You kind of keep you keep dating the same kind of like a bad guy or a bad, the same kind of date, or something along those lines, and it's like a lesson that you keep reliving. It may have something to do with your Akashic Records.
Right, and I think that what's interesting about it is knowing or having that awareness of exactly what the Akashic Records are.
Right.
You might be able to stop or maybe lessen the cycle of learning that particular lesson that keeps reoccurring based on what you have established that you want to learn or work through in this particular lifetime.
Right, the records are, from what I understand, and Susan can tell us more about that later, but from what I understand, it's almost as if a record or almost like a written plan for your upcoming life. So you decide what will be your goals or your agenda items for this life. What lessons will you have to learn? And so sometimes if you're on this path and you keep learning the same lesson, maybe it's because you haven't really learned.
Or you really haven't learned, or you keep experiencing
That's what I
the
mean.
same
That's
lesson.
exactly what I mean.
I can give you in a nutshell a situation that I encountered numerous times having to do with working in certain environments. I constantly was feeling that I was maybe being, people were treating me very harshly, and there was a lot of unhappiness associated with it, almost as if I was going through what I would consider a martyr type of environment, like where I was being persecuted for things, and I couldn't understand what this concept was all about and why they were doing this to me. And then in one of my past jobs while I was still in a corporate environment, suddenly one day the light bulb came on, or maybe I can say that I had the awareness that I needed to take action to do something to stop the cycle. And I can tell you that once I made that commitment, I realized and I knew almost instantaneously that I was never going to experience that again. I was done with that.
Really?
But it wasn't until I finally committed to the action that was needed and required
To stop
it.
Stop the
And
repetitive.
let me tell you something, it took me numerous years of experiencing this. I mean, I'm talking maybe 20 years repetitively having this life experience over and over again.
And it never occurred to you
Never
to take
occurred
this
to
action
me.
sooner.
I finally said to myself, okay, that's it. Come what may, this is what I'm going to do, because I know that when I take this action, my life will be better, and I have to be strong and committed to doing this. And once I
Which
did,
means leaving.
right. Well, I knew
Was that what the action was?
No, the action was actually standing up for myself and reporting the negative behavior to an appropriate authority. And I was really quite fearful of that, because I was in fear that I would lose my position and my employment, and what would happen to me if that were to occur.
Right.
But once I actually committed to doing that, and I was still in very much a fearful mode. I mean, it certainly wasn't like, oh, I made this decision and then suddenly I went, oh, okay, it's fine. No, I did this with complete fear and terror, but
You
knowing,
were a little scared.
yeah, well, knowing that I needed to do that. But once I did it, I knew that I was no longer going to experience that life lesson. I just knew. So maybe it's that type of thing that you may have going on in your lifetime.
Right.
And so Susan will explain Akashic Records and how that has a relationship in your life, and maybe what you
And
can
maybe
do.
what we can do to actually try to connect with them ourselves. If you do want, to change them or do anything with them, you would approach someone like Susan, but maybe there's some ways that we can do something on our own too. So stay tuned. You're watching What Matters Most, and coming up next is Susan P.A. And we're back with What Matters Most, and we're here with Susan P.A. In 1982, Susan studied Jose Silva's mind control method, and later she studied soul travel based on the principles of Eckankar. Mediumship and psychic development soon followed. She was also led to become a practitioner of a variety of healing arts, including Marielle and Jin Shin Zitsu, and became a Reiki master in 1995. She has been in private practice since 1994 and an interfaith minister since 2001. As well, she is a nationally certified spiritual response technique practitioner. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
So Susan, let's start out with talking a little bit about the difference between the Akashic Records for an individual as compared to the Akashic Records for mankind, and maybe even explain what are the Akashic Records.
Okay. Well, my understanding of the Akashic Records is that the word Akashic is really a Sanskrit word which means ethers. So that which is written in the sky, that which is written in the ethers. So, and the etheric realm is really a place, or it's one might think of it as a bridge between the incarnation of who we are in all of our lives, with the bridge between who we are as incarnate beings and spirit. So there are plans that spirit may have for us, and while, just like you might take an art class, for instance, spirit will say, well, here's the easel and here are the paintbrushes, but you as the creative being, the incarnate being who has to live this life, we leave the end product up to you. So we may have a goal in mind, but you have to exercise your free will, your life movement forward, your relationships with others, your own personal journey, to actually create that life and navigate the waters as you see fit. So that's one of the wonderful things about having free will. So each individual then has a place in the Akashic Records. There are energies, there are interactions, there may be karmic debts that we need to pay, or there may be karmic debts that are owed to us.
Oh, gosh.
And so that's all stored up there. And so we can be sort of, living our lives and having a very beautiful and wonderful normal existence, and then at a certain age, things start to either become very fortuitous for us, or we may have an experience that causes us great difficulty. And while we maybe look at what's been going on in our lives and there doesn't seem to be any explanation for it in I call it the 3D dimensional world that we live in, it may be energies that are dropping in from other planes of existence or other times, or our Akashic Records are activated. So there's a general flow. The theme for mankind, if you will, then really, again, in my humble opinion, is to move forward, to clean up our karmic debts, whatever they may be, and move to live joyfully and return to source.
What did you mean by that the Akashic Records are activated?
Well, again, as we are living our lives, let's say it helps to believe in past lives. The Akashic Records, again, I just want to back up just for a second, is a history of who we have been, who we are, and who we have yet to become. And again, I do believe that there's a fluidity to that. It's not set in stone. I believe there are elements that need to be experienced in order for us to return to source, that we need to clean up. And we have many, many opportunities through many, many lifetimes to experience those things. So when, let's say for instance, in this life, one becomes I don't know, maybe a millionaire, for instance. Maybe they win the lottery or something like that. There may be, as I mentioned before, the idea of karmic debts that are owed to us. So we may have done some really fortuitous things in past lives that are now dropping in financially, for instance, or maybe we meet the person of our dreams or something like that. So there's a plus side to karma. It's not always, doom and gloom and debt. But so we may, our Akashic records may be activated at that point where we receive reward for services done from past lives. Conversely, it could be that maybe things fall apart. So it depends on what's going on. We may have a pretty charmed or blessed life this time around, and so perhaps we are gaining benefit. We're reaping the benefit of these former lifetimes.
So where are they stored? Where are these records stored? Is there like an etheric hall of records that it's stored in, or where are they, like in the one master vault, or are they in our own little vaults? I don't know.
Okay, great question. Well, when we think about being a human being, the idea of soul travel that I had studied many years ago talks about different layers and levels of our being, of our incarnate selves. So we have the astral plane. So at the level of the astral plane, there's a hall of records. At the mental, causal, and etheric, and the soul level, there are halls of records where we are holding experiences that can be activated at any time. I suppose depending on how you are moving through your life's path. So things sort of dense down then from the etheric plane down through the layers and levels of our incarnate life to who we are now and the experiences that we have.
Very interesting.
So would you say then that when we're on the other side and we're developing our, basically I'm going to call it like a checklist of issues that we're looking to work through in this particular lifetime, are they being written in lifetime to lifetime, or are they being written far in advance, like 2 or 3 lifetimes, or many more?
Well, we're going to get to that question when we come back.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we do have to go to a quick break. You're listening to What Matters Most, and we'll be right back.